feeling for Rotherham United.
What's got round the back? And Richie Wood has done it again. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the super serious Rotherham United podcast. We are here in the festive spirit to talk about a football game. Huddersfield Town are coming to town on Saturday afternoon. Final game pre-Christmas. And obviously we've got... this is the real start. I know we talked at the festive period this time last week, but this is the proper festive period kicking in. 5 games over, just over a week. Should be fun. I'm really looking forward to Christmas period. Really good. But anyway, Mick's back with us. How's it going, Michael?
Yeah, I'm all right. Apart from this ridiculous hat.
It's not the Father Christmas's fault that your head is so large it doesn't fit into a normal hat.
Well, it could have brought me a bigger hat. That's all I'm saying.
True. Anyway. Does Father Christmas normally provide Christmas hats? Is that?
I have no idea.
Cool. Good start, everybody. We're in early. Danny's back with us. How's it going, Danny? Does your hat fit more better?
It does, yes. It's very warm though. I found that out last night because I wore it for the pub's Christmas quiz, and I was sweating by the end of it. But no, I'm finally in the festive spirit now. I've done a Christmas market. I've done a Christmas quiz, both played and hosted. So festive football, let's do it.
Not the last festive quiz that you're doing, though, Danny, is it?
No, it's not. On Tuesday, is it?
Tuesday.
Yep, on Tuesday, it's going to be the podcast Christmas quiz, hosted by yours truly, and all questions by yours truly. It's going to be after the preview for Boxing Day. Yep. 30 questions, 15 Christmas, 15 all things Rotherham United. You can play in the comments, play on notepad and pen, whatever tickles your fancy, but join us for it because it should be a good laugh.
Absolutely. And there is no prize.
No, the prize is pride.
The prize is the festive spirit, the Christmas spirit, I think, which is the best gift of all if you watch any kind of Christmas movie. Usually it says, good evening, one and all. Phil's with us, as is Chris Taylor. Nick Newsom says, good evening, Miller's 10-0 winning coming. Harry says, England cricket seems to be ruining my Christmas. Hope Rotherham don't follow.
Hey, it's not only a cricket team, is it?
What?
I mean, VAR it seems to have taken over cricket.
It does. That's because they've used the cheap Australian version. That's why, though.
What a joke that is! What an absolute joke that is.
Correct.
Anyway,
Darren Cook says, "Evening, guys. The best scout report yet. Love Cozzy. Yeah, the scout report's up. The podcast is he takes that chance, and we had Cozzy from that podcast. Cozzy is by far and away one of my favourite people to ever speak to, ever. He's just such a lovely guy. He mentioned on the show yesterday, he had his mum's funeral yesterday, but still came on and talked to us about Huddersfield Town. He's just honestly one of the best guys in the world. So do go and check out the scout report. Show Cozzy some love. And he might be in a pub on Saturday. So if you see Cozzy on Saturday, again, show him some love because he is just one of the best. Paul V says, London Huddersfield podcast wasn't very positive. Sounds like it could be a poor game Saturday. Yes, it could be. Right, no pre-match press conference as of yet, which is annoying because this is why we normally look forward to that for team news and things such as that. But, Mick, there is a little trickling of team news that's coming out a little bit. The big one really is Sam Nombe will probably be available for some part in the game. Mm-hmm. Do you expect it to be kind of ultra cautious like the last time he came back? 20 minutes here, half an hour there. Or could you see it's less time out? Do you think that has any impact on how you bring him back into the team?
I think he'll be cautious again. I don't think anything will change. It's been quite a nasty injury, hasn't it? So he's not going to want to risk him. He's not going to play 90 minutes. I wouldn't have thought. I would have thought it's going to be another last 20-minute job to start with, and maybe hopefully he'll be back sort of playing more minutes quicker than he was last time, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we could do with him back. We just need that something extra up front, don't we?
Yes,
or something
yes,
up front, even just something. Never mind extra, anything.
That's harsh on Jordan Hugo, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I didn't mean it to be.
No, the humbug spirit really has encapsulated Mick today. So well done. With Sam Nombe, Danny, the RUFC put the stats up. You occasionally see some people, and I think fairly say that you can't just rely on Sam Nombe. It can't just be, Sam Nombe is not playing, so you're going to that means. But the stats that the RUFC put up, I put there, they're stark. Sam Nombe this season he's played 7 games, and we've points per game of 2.29. That's winning 5 out of 7 games. He's not played 13 games. We've won 1 out of 13 when Sam Nombe has not been available. It's a concern because you don't want to be a one-man team, but that's tell you're a bit of a one-man team, and that's how important it is to get back.
Yeah, definitely. I think in January, one of the strikers I'm sure should be targeting is someone of a similar playing style to Sam Nombe, just so, like I say, we aren't a one-man team, because it's a bit like black and white at the minute, isn't it? Like when Sam Nombe plays, we do well. If Sam Nombe doesn't play, odds are on we won't do very well, as the last 2 games have shown. But no, it's good news that he'll be back in some part, because maybe we see that late impact that he had when he came back from his first injury this season. But also at the same time, we shouldn't be relying that much on just one player, because then it's like, it's just not a good thing, because like we've shown, when he gets injured, we can't play properly. So when Sam Nombe is back, excellent. We should see a new way of playing coming out of the front line that suits A, his play style, and B, the way we set up as well. But also, it just highlights we need another one in January. And then I think when we've got that, hopefully, touch wood, fingers crossed, all that, we can have a strong second half of the season with Sam Nombe and ex-player who is in the same play style as Sam Nombe.
Yeah. Where do we sit on this, Mick? Because we brought in 2 strikers, Tete and Sharif. Sam Nombe's never had injuries. It's not like Sam Nombe's been injury prone. He's been injured again. This is kind of a new thing that Nombe's got injured. Is Matt Hamshaw very unlucky that Nombe's been injured? Should he have brought in somebody similar? Because Tete and Sharif are nothing like Sam Nombe. In terms of stretching the game, neither of them do that as well as anywhere close as what Sam Nombe does. Is that a mistake? We don't know the budget constraints, I suppose. But where do you sit on that one?
Well, we can't say that Matt Hamshaw's been unlucky, because that's not allowed. True. So it's not allowed. It's not bad luck. It's just somebody has to take the blame, and Matt Hamshaw's the manager, so it's got to be him. So he used to blame for Sam Nombe's injuries. Obviously, I don't know why we're discussing that.
Fair enough.
Look, the 2 that we brought in, Tete and Sharif, we've had about, if you add them all up, we've probably had 90 minutes out of them. I mean, I know that's probably exaggerating it a little bit, but it ain't much more than that in reality. Obviously, Sharif got a couple of goals, but we've had no consistency whatsoever, none at all, apart from Jordan Hugo, who at the moment couldn't hit a bull's arse with a shovel. He's just, as far as goals are concerned, it's just a non-starter for him. I mean, we can argue all night whether or not he contributes. I think he does. Some people think he doesn't, whatever. But we do need somebody else. He can't play up there on his own, particularly with the scoring drought that he's been on for however long it's been on it. So I don't know. I don't know where I stand on it. We do need somebody else, quite clearly. We need Nombe back. That's helpful, and the stats bear that out, don't they? So obviously, and if you think about it, we are scoring goals from everywhere else on the pitch. If we can add a striker in there who is also scoring goals, then these odd goal defeats are going to change. These draws are going to change into wins, assuming everything else remains the same. So, yeah, it's been a massive blow for us, and we're just glad he's back. To be honest,
yeah, as long as he don't get injured again.
As long as he don't get injured,
his stats under Matt Hamshaw. Yeah. Would it be unlucky? Can't be looked. I haven't looked at his stats. I'll probably look it up Sunday. But his stats under Matt Hampshire are also ridiculous. It's like a goal every other game, maybe slightly better than that for Sam Nombe. He really has taken to playing under Matt Hampshire, which makes it even more frustrating. The fact he's been out as well. It's just a bit of a perfect storm in terms of that guy being missed. It's like missing Dan Gore. If Dan Gore was injured, we'd be almost lost without him, I suppose. So it's maybe not one man team. Maybe that's harsh. Yeah, I don't know what else to say on that one. The big news.
Sorry, I was just on that. I think Phil's hit the nail on the head here. We look better with a more fluid attack, who stretch the play, and also when a quick break occurs. And that's exactly what Sam Nombe does. And Phil's absolutely right there. You know, when we've got some movement and some pace and some strength up front, we're a different team completely. So arguably, it doesn't necessarily have to be Sam Nombe. Jordan Hugill, bless him, is not mobile. He's not quick. You know, he's not going to stretch defences. And nobody else has taken up that mantle since Sam Nombe has been gone. Once he's back, and if we can add to the squad, somebody will do something similar, then we should be all right, I think.
Hopefully. January will be interesting. Maybe we'll talk about January later on in the show if we've got time. But January and Sam Nombe and others might be interesting. The other news, Danny, is the almost Christmas miracle that Kina Tete might be available. Now, this was nobody saw this coming. As far as we were all concerned, I think we talked about this on the podcast. Tete was out the door. He was done. He was never going to play for us again, and we were going to send him back because we do have a break clause in his contract. But he might be available for the weekend. He might be available for the Christmas period. And although he's very different to Sam Nombe, he is more mobile than Jordan Hugill. So that if he is a bit fit and able to play some sort of minutes, that's going to be a massive help to us just for having legs on the pitch, basically.
Yeah, I mean, with Tete, he's not really shown much so far in a Rotherham shirt, mainly because he's always been injured. But at the same time, we are at the point now where it's just like, if we've got a body coming back, it's a good thing because it can relieve somebody else. And I know it sounds really bad, but you never know. He might grab a goal for us in some situation, whether it's a Jordan Hugill situation where he's just lurking on the edge of the 6-yard box, or he takes a punt and he scores. We don't know. Let the fates decide what happens with that. But no, you're right. It is a little bit of a Christmas miracle that he's even in the conversation for the Huddersfield game, let alone potentially in the match day 18, because we thought it'd be done until end of December, at least January. And you're right. We have talked about it before. Like if he's injured until January, then he's got the recovery time anyway, so he's not really going to have much impact. So it'd be better going on loan somewhere else and not with us. Thankfully, we have got that clause in the contract, so that is still on the table. But I'm just happy that we've got someone coming back who can relieve Jordan Hugill, because we've seen how he's played. He's played with an ankle the size of a watermelon. We've brought Josh Ayres up to senior level, which isn't a knock against him because he has done quite well now that he's been given the run out. So it's just nice to have someone back. But I would prefer Nombe being back, if I'm being completely honest, because Nombe does score goals and we know he scores goals, whereas Tete is more hit and miss, I think is the kindest way of putting it. But no, if we can squeeze a couple games out of him until January and he still heads back, fair enough, you know. But if he comes back and really has improved and got his head right and he's really cracking on, then who knows where that takes us after the window's shut.
The thing is, with Kina Tete, we don't know what he can do.
Not really.
You know? We don't. We've seen him. He came into the squad, having not played for 6 months, and looked like he hadn't played for 6 months. Yeah. And then once he got up to speed, it was like a breath of fresh air for a game, and then got injured, came back, and then got injured again. You know, so we don't, and maybe arguably this is one of the problems that he's had throughout his career. When I know Bolton couldn't stand him, they didn't like him either. But I would imagine because he never did because he was always injured. You know, whether that's likely to change, whether we're going to get 2 or 3 games out of him and get him a run in the team is another matter entirely. But we'll have to wait and see. We don't really know what he's capable of, but arguably maybe nobody else doesn't either.
No, No, I think that's probably true. I think he did well at maybe Cheltenham or something like that. I think that's the only place he's kind of impressed on loan, I think. But the game he played, was it Exeter, where he played 20 minutes, was really, really good, and then picked up the injury, which caused the change in formation. So we have seen a spell of him where he looks like he can be a really, really effective and useful player. But that's fitness depending, sharpness, I think, as well, because he's been out longer than Nombe. He's been out longer than anybody, it feels like, at Tete. So it's not, and we saw that Port Vale game when he was, as blunt as you want to be. He really, really struggled, and he looked like you said, he just like not play for 6 months. So it depends which Tete turns up, I suppose, on Saturday to how actually important his return is.
Or if he turns up at all, he's not supposed to be at the squad, is he? He might. I'll be surprised. Given the length of injury, the length of time he's been out with injury, I'd be very, very surprised to see him in the squad on Saturday. Especially if Nombe is knocking on the door of fitness. We've got Josh Ayres there as well, who can do a job. So I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I would be as well. Regardless, if Tete has to go in January, even if he's fit, he'll just break down again. Paul says, I would still send a Tete back because he can't stay fit, unfortunately. Rotherham can't afford players like that. Harry says, Tete reminds me of Eves, like a 6'7", but can't win a header. But he's more of a stretch thing. He's closer to the Nombe than he is to Hugo, isn't it? Even though he's quite a big lad. So we have other players that are due back as well, Danny. Zach Jules, again, probably available in the squad. This is, again, do you risk him? Do you put him in from start? Because he's been out again for a very, very long time. But defensively against we can moan all we want about the attacking side of things against Plymouth, which are all fair. But what you can't argue is defensively we were solid as a rock. So why would we force Zach Jules back in when Baptiste was excellent, Holmes was excellent, and Joe Raffett was as solid as ever? That side of things maybe we don't need to tinker with, whereas striker we do.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because, well, like I said, we lost, so there is something you could tinker with somewhere. But at the same time, if the defence is cohesive, I think it's a better way of putting it. If they're cohesive and you've got a player just coming back from injury who we know does put a shift in like Zach Jules does, but he is still at risk of redoing the injury, or the load might be too much just coming straight back into the starting 11. Matt Hamshaw has always said he won't risk players unnecessarily. And I think if this is Jules' first game back in the match day 18, he won't risk him from the start unnecessarily when, like you said, the back three were, in some regard, all right against Plymouth. But now the front line is definitely one that needs more tinkering. I don't think it's a case of having Nombe in from the start. But I do think if Hugo or even Ayres does what we need them to do up top, then we start with either one of those two, or Martha being second striker and then tinker later on when Nombe's less at risk by only doing 20 or so minutes. But I think with Zach Jules, we keep him for the big festive running, as a just a little bit of a side pot of ammunition that we can use, because we'll have Saturday, Boxing Day, then it's the Monday, etc., all the way through into the new year. Yeah. So keep Zach Jules prepped and ready for when we need him during that period, rather than just chucking him in against Huddersfield, more or less for the sake of it, and then risking him blowing up or getting injured again or whatever. If he gets 20 minutes, I'm happy. Don't get me wrong, I'll be happy to see him. Yeah. But we shouldn't risk players unnecessarily, even when we are short on bodies. The only exception to that is Jordan Hugill, because he made himself available.
Yeah, and we had nobody else that could fill in for him. The big one for me, Mick, not as big as Sam Nombe, but the big one will be Reece James if he's fit and available. And that's not necessarily for the fact he is Reece James, because Reece James is a decent, solid, but unspectacular left wing back. But what he is a left wing back. So the fact we will, for the first time in I genuinely don't know how long, we will probably have a left wing back at left wing back. And that kind of shores up the only weakness we've had over the last 2 months in defence. So if he is fit and available, that would be absolutely huge for me.
I mean, the issue for with Reece James is that he's played two positions, and the knock-on effect of him being out is we've had to bring in a left-sided central defender, which in Baptiste, who's better in that position than with the greatest respect to Reece James, he's much better than Reece James is in that position because that's where he plays. It's great to have him back, and it does free up that space. So if James is back, it will be a massive boost for Joe Powell more than anybody else, probably. More than Matt Amshaw, more than Crowd and everything else. I think Joe Powell will be happiest man alive if Reece James is back. So yeah, that would be a big boost for us, assuming that there was no concussion and it was a facial injury.
Yeah, it looks like it's a broken jaw or fractured jaw they had. Apparently, if he does play, it will be with a mask. I don't know if that matters to anybody, to be honest. But it's about balancing it, Danny. It's about having that balance, and that's again, even though we've had some fantastic performances in that run, that left-hand side. Onyedimna had a great day. That Blackpool right wing had a fantastic day. Plymouth's goal came down the left-hand side. We've just lacked that balance because we basically didn't get in a backup left wing back because he thought Joe Powell could do a job, and Joe Powell's just not. He's been a body, but he's not really done a great job at left wing back. So getting that balance back is going to be huge.
Yeah, yeah. It's just adding strength into each department where we can now. And yeah, like you said, the left side has definitely been our weakest point. I mean, even Salford had a good run of it down that side as well until we swapped and changed it and then put 5 past him in second half. That was fun. Was it 5 or was it 4? 4 because we went in winning. But no, it's just got nice to have bodies back. And you never know, it might upset Huddersfield's planning to some extent if we're able to fill out that place with a recognised left wing back or left-sided player rather than making do. Of course, they'll do the research. I'm not saying that we won't do the research, just go out. It'll be right because that's not what football is at all. But it might play some sort of game with their right-sided player where someone is naturally going to be there rather than making do there. And football's a game of getting everyone up on the other team as you can in the run up to it, and maybe that's one of them. We'll have to wait and see. It might be somebody else there, we don't know yet. But just having a left-sided player back, both at centre back and on the wing, is better than just plugging square pegs in round holes.
100%. Could not agree more. Caleb was asked about McWilliams and Lenny. The answer is we don't know. There is no bid. There's been no pre-match press conference.
The only thing we know about Lenny is that his operation.
McWilliams is one. Yeah, I think we'll hopefully see him over this festive period. That's where we are. Hope. McWilliams is an interesting one. It's just gone quiet with McWilliams. It's really weird. The McWilliams one. It's been weeks. It's been 3 or 4 weeks as well, hasn't it? It feels like. So it's interesting, McWilliams. So I assume there'll be a presser tomorrow, and we'll probably find out a bit more information about that. But time will tell. Time will tell on that one. Paul says, let's not forget Hamish Douglas. He isn't to blame for this recent run. No, absolutely, Mick. But I've been kind of shouting this for the last few weeks that he's going to come out at some point. And I don't think we need to be saying it's Douglas's fault or Hamshaw's fault for not playing. I think it's one of those things. He's a youngster. He is a kid who's playing his first games, and Tom Holmes is a very experienced and probably better than Hamish Douglas because of the experience and everything else that comes along with it. Douglas will come back in a few weeks' time and everything will be fine. I don't think it's anything to write a headline about, do you think? Or do you think it's something to talk about?
Well, he's played for half a game of the 2 games where we've been awful. So he's got no responsibility. He should take no responsibility for the last 2 performances. I think he's done exceptionally well, and I think he's incredibly unlucky to come out. And I think, arguably, the main reason that he's now not got that central role in defence is because Baptiste is back, and it reduces the average age of that back line to about 12 when if Hamish Douglas is there. So that's probably why he's not there. But he's as it stands at the moment, unfortunately for him, it looks like he's now going to be a backup in that position. But he can do a job in midfield, which is where which is where he's played previously. So he's still got a part to play. And injuries being what they are at this football club, I've no doubt they're back in the central defence at some point very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Hamish Douglas because he needs to continue playing to an extent, Danny. This is going to be one of the questions that Matt I'm sure is going to have to ask himself in the January window. And to be fair, probably Douglas is going to have to himself because if Holmes and Baptiste stay available and Zach Jules stay available, they're on paper our best three centre halves, and when they play well, they are our best three centre halves. So Hamish Douglas is going to have to kind of bide his time a little bit and come in and out of the team a little bit, which might be a little bit difficult. I'd be interested to see what we do with Douglas because I think maybe he does need to play more games, but can we accommodate that right now? I don't know. For me, that's going to be interesting for him in January.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive headache, isn't it, for Matt? I'm sure. Glad it's him, not us. But no, I see where you're coming from. I mean, if Douglas wants to keep up the same amount of games that he's been getting since whenever it was, October time, then the answer is he goes somewhere else, carries on getting that volume of minutes into his body, and then comes back a much fitter player, ready to go again in the summer, regardless of what league we're in, hopefully this one. But also at the same time, does he want to stay and then fight his way back into the team and show that he can get one up on the more experienced players and show how good of a player he is? Because in my opinion, at least, the run that we've had up until Blackpool wouldn't have been as good as it was without Hamish Douglas. Because we could have very easily lost all of those games and lesser teams would have lost all of those games. But we went on and they ended on 9 unbeaten in the league, I think it was.
Well, 10.
Yeah, 9 or 10. And I think that's down to Hamish Douglas because he put in a colossal performance. To say it was an academy product stepping up into not even stepping up, just chucked into the deep end with the first team. He stepped up, did his job really well, and had a bad run of it against Blackpool and has now been suddenly chucked to the wolves. No, we could have very easily lost all of those draws if Douglas wasn't as good as he was. But then if we had Nombe with us, he could have been very easily instrumental in turning those draws into wins. We just don't know with that one. But I wouldn't argue it's unfair because we've got the experienced players back, and you do go with your experienced players because they know what they're doing if they won't shorter it. But if we don't see a massive improvement, and we've got Zach Jules on the left-hand side, why not stick Douglas back in the middle? Why not have him as a very mobile sitting defender, like you've said, Matt? We'll just have to see what time tells with that one. I do hope he doesn't leave in January, but I understand if he does, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I want to play games. It's a gift. It may be more for Douglas than anyone else because, and we're making a story out of nothing here, to be honest with you, which I think is quite an achievement. But if he's not going to get the games and he wants to continue playing, that might be where a short-term loan comes in. Might be, probably doesn't, but it's.
I'm not buying this. I'm not, and I'm with Rob. What Rob said in the comments there. Why would you send him out on loan? I mean, he's been one of the better players this season, and I don't necessarily agree with bringing Thomas Holmes back in. Frankly, I think he's been better than Thomas Holmes, and he's proved himself over that 10-game period. I get the experience part of it and everything else, but there ain't that much difference in terms of age, just the number of games played. But he's not put a foot wrong. The lad has not put a foot wrong.
I agree.
And he should be here and should remain here as far as I'm concerned, because at some point, Thomas Holmes is likely to have another injury or whatever. But, and we need him because we haven't got anybody else for that position that's good enough in this league. I just put that in there in case anybody says Raggett. But I would argue he's probably better than Thomas Holmes, frankly. Yeah, well, we'll see. I've said this a couple of times, haven't I? You know, and he's had a couple of decent games, Tom Holmes, particularly on Saturday. He was pretty decent. But jury's out for me. I don't have the same confidence in him that Hamish Douglas has built up for me in the last 10 games.
Just to nail my colours to the mast on it as well, I'm just saying I understand why he'd go out on loan, but I wouldn't agree with it because I agree with it. He should be in the team, but just purely based on performance level over this run. If it's based on performance level, he should not leave. He should be starting. I understand if he does because we want to keep his volume of games up, but I wouldn't agree with it. I'd want him in and around the team, building experience in first team football, but also playing. Because no, I agree with Mick. He's shown more than Thomas Holmes has. Not Thomas Holmes is a bad player, but Douglas has just been better.
It's about what's best for his development, isn't it? That's it. If it's best for his development to stay with the squad and be a bit part player, which he probably will be, then we'll all be buzzing, won't we? To keep Hamish Douglas around. If it's another route, then it's another route. But that's not something. It's just a conversation point.
That's something for the player himself to decide.
Yeah,
we
absolutely. Absolutely.
But if we had the choice, we'd keep him.
Yes, 1,000,000%. And also, by the way, timed down to a contract. I'm pretty sure it was only a 1-year contract he signed. So that'd be one of the first things on my agenda is to extend his contract. No matter what he does in January, it's loan or stay. Get that boy on a contract because he needs to be with us certainly start of next season, if not from now onwards. Durham Dom says, unfortunate, to find himself out of the team at Plymouth. Agree, he's not put a foot wrong. Need to keep him around and playing. Yeah, it is managing, which I think I'm sure has done very, very well with, to be honest with you, so far. So we'll see what happens with that. Lenny should be back soon, as we mentioned. There's no kind of set date on that, but we'll see what happens with that. Adam says Douglas is one injury or sending off away from being straight back in the team. Crazy people talking about him going back out on loan. Yeah, fair enough. Sean Raggett, we'll talk about the January transfer window later on. I suspect there's 2 or 3 players that I'm sure will be desperate to get rid of, wage-wise, to be honest with you.
I think I understand Bristol Rovers might be interested in Sean Raggett.
Do you think?
I've no idea. I just made that up. Let's start it. Let's start that rumour going.
We can do that. I think they should take Liam Kelly as well. I think he'd do a really good job in League Two. I think Lister Kelly.
He already has done with Coventry.
True, very, very true. Bring Clark Harris back from Turkey, wherever he is. I think, to be fair, he is a Bristol Rovers legend, actually. But yeah, that'd be interesting. Let's see what happens from afar with that one. If anybody's got any topics or conversations you want us to talk about, you are in the comments. Do let us know. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Most of you have subscribed who are with us already, but if you haven't done so tonight, please do give it a like as well. We are 32 subscribers away from 2,000. I'm very confident we'll hit that before the end of the season. I think it's unlikely we'll do it before Christmas now. But you never know. You never know. New Year. We've got a lot of episodes over the next couple of weeks. We've lots of instant reactions, lots of pre-match and post-match chat like this. Probably less scout reports because Christmas is busy. But we'll try and get one for the Bolton game done. I can see there's loads of people watching on X tonight. So if you're watching on X, follow us on there and get up to YouTube and subscribe as well. Harry says, could you see Jack Holmes over there, possibly Bristol Rovers? I think that'd be a great move for him. For how long have we been talking about Jack Holmes going and playing games, Mick? I think him going up to wherever and playing games, Jack Holmes would be brilliant. Any thoughts on Jack Holmes?
Yeah, he's not getting a look in at the moment, is he? And he needs some game time. I'm not convinced that this is his level, frankly. That may be a bit harsh. I don't think he's a non-league player. I think League Two might be a better grounding place for him than where we are at the moment because he's just not getting the game time at the moment here. And I don't think he's a Matt Hamshaw type of player for whatever reason. So. Yeah, maybe he might be one that goes out the door in January. Who knows?
Yeah. Donkey D says if he could subscribe again, he would. Appreciate that, Donkey D.
Make another account with different email and then subscribe. There you go.
You could do that. I'm not sure that's how close to. Yeah, we could do that. There's your option, Donkey. That sounds like a lot of effort. But I'm not. Who am I to tell you how to spend your time? You know what I mean? You do what you do. Rob Dix says, keep talking about forwards in January. Who's out unavailable? Slim pickings, in his opinion. We thought that in the summer, and we managed to pick up a few gems for reasonably low money. We have no choice but to back the recruitment team, Danny. And to be fair, we can talk. This is another conversation we could talk about to a blue in the face. I think that for me, and this is all about opinions, we've all got one. I think the recruitment team, quality-wise, did a very, very good job. Now, we can talk about injury issues, again, to a blue in the face. But quality-wise, I don't think you can argue with much of what the recruitment in the summer.
No, I agree because, I agree and disagree to a point because I agree quality-wise, the players that we have seen, like especially Denzel Hall and I suppose Dan Gore was more of a last season acquisition, but has really come into his own this season. But it's the same recruitment team, I suppose. They have really been gems that we've found, both permanent and loan. You look at Baptiste when he's played; he's been really well played as well. Sam Nombase, again, same recruitment team, different management. We all have found gems in their own rights. Injury-wise, could we have done better and done some more research into that? Potentially. But if they are a sterling fit player of that quality, with the world being their oyster with how they play the football, those sort of players don't really sign for Rotherham United. They sign for clubs that are offering far more money on the contracts. Potentially, what's his face who went to Plymouth? We wanted him and he went there for more money.
Weirdo.
Yeah, Weirdo. He went there because they offered more money and we couldn't match it. Fair enough, whatever. But no, I do think the recruitment team does get some unnecessary stick, but they only find they only recruit the players on this list that the managers want. If the manager is willing to take the risk on said injury list with the players, that is the manager's decision. And then it's whoever's decision to go and sign off on the wages, transfer fee, whatever. But in terms of unearthed gems that this recruitment team have found, the list is actually quite long. You've got your Chirwell Bennies, for example. You've got your Wes Hardings, who put a shift in for us as well. Victor Johansson, Denzel Hall, Dan Gore. Players who might necessarily have gone to big clubs for more money, but we got them and turned them into, or are in the process of turning them into diamonds. And so I can't knock it, personally. The only constraints they've got is what the management wants and how much money we've got, which should be another asking thing for January. Can we get a player of Sam Nombase's ilk and playing style with the budget without sending in anybody else out of the door, out on loan? Probably not. But the list will be there. The list will be ready to go and acted on if we are ready to act on it. So, no, I do appreciate the job that Rob Scott is doing, and I think he's doing a good job of it. Could it be better? Yeah. Could it be worse? Absolutely. So he's doing a good job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Graham Mason picks from Sky. He said Sky confirmed Rotherham as buy striker Callum Stead from Barnet. I haven't seen that report, but Graham is the second person to mention the name Callum Stead to me so far. So that is, you wonder if there's something in that, if we're getting multiple sources on that. Although Harmony said, Mick, Duncan Watmore was going to sign, and Paul said this training is Sheffield Wednesday again. Probably not massive enough. Is this time to draw a line under the Duncan Watmore? It's not really a saga. I'm going to say saga. It's not really a saga, is it? It's this Duncan Watmore myth.
I don't know. It seems it's been one of those that sort of started off with a little bit of a rumor and snowballed out of control, didn't it? There's been nothing really concrete to say that we were even interested in him. I know the manager's asked and played that one where it's been asked and played it with a straight bat. To be honest with you, I'm not that bothered. Now let's carry on recruiting in the way that we recruited in the summer, and let's get some younger players in who are going to make us something. Who are going to be an asset to us, not somebody. With the greatest of respect to Duncan Watmore, and this is not a criticism of him, we're not going to be basically a bit of a millstone because of his age, because of his wage demands, because of contract issues. All those things are problems that we don't really need. Yeah, we need goals. However, get some injuries back, we should have them, hopefully. So in January, if we can boost with some actual signings, some younger ones who we can bring on, develop, and that old story, then for me, I wouldn't even be looking, quite frankly.
No. Well, also is this recruitment team under Rob Scott has done pretty poorly on the older players. When we sign players kind of 30 or over, the recruitment has been very, very poor. It's generally been very much better when you're signing the younger end. We seem to be better at finding gems rather than identifying older players who can fit into our system, really. So maybe that's another reason as well. So yeah, usually says you play for Sheffield Wednesday this week as well in their reserve game or B team, whatever it's called nowadays. So
you're like their under 21s or something.
Yes,
it?
Whatever it is, it's dead in the water. Without barring something significant, it's dead in the water.
For me, it says something is happening at Sheffield Wednesday that no one's alluding to, because if he's still in their kit, shall we say, there is something bubbling there, whether or not it's the new owners coming in and they've got a player ready to go in January as a new signing with Duncan Watmore, or the application with the EFL for that third free.
No.
Danny's
We'll see.
I think frozen.
There you go.
We know exactly what's going to happen with Pigs, don't we? We know exactly what's going to happen.
Same as happened with
Somebody's
Wigan.
going to come in with a shed load of money when they get relegated, and we're going to have to put up with them gloating and smirking and everything else that they do in League One next season. That's what's going to happen.
I'm surprised no one's coming at the minute. I'm very surprised no one's actually bought them yet, because like you'd think with a so-called club of that size, they'd come in straight away, but nothing's happened. They're still fiddling about with the fine-tooth comb, and it's like, why?
It have to be somebody with very deep pockets or a very well written CV, is what I would say.
I'm going to say this now that we're not kicking them while they're down. Sheffield Wednesday are a difficult thing to buy because the stadium's old, really old. So you either need to knock it down and start again or build a brand new stadium. How many hundreds of millions is that? Or not, near 100 million. The training ground is, from reports, better than ours, but, my back garden comes close to Roundwood at times, I think. So that their training ground needs a lot of work. Other than the name Sheffield Wednesday, they're not that great a thing to buy. They need so much work doing them as a football club. I can see why people are not worried. And that's why Mike Ashley will probably take over and do quite well.
Well, we don't want that, do we? We don't want anybody checking them over.
What do you mean?
Down New York, which
Oh, Mick, I can't believe you're so rude to our Sheffield Wednesday friends.
I feel like I'm the only person that doesn't want Wednesday to disappear.
Well, I had a message from Sheffield Wednesday fans on Monday asking me for advice on how to deal with a season where they get beat and battered up every single week. I told them to suck it up. And please break our points record. Adam says, any talk of JJ being fit soon, and is he good enough for League One? If so, no news on JJ. He's probably good enough, but we just don't know. Anything on JJ you want to add at the minute? It's JJ's a really, really sad story, isn't it, really?
It is. I think we've seen the last of JJ in a Rotherham United shirt, frankly. Just because of the catalogue of injuries that he's had, and it's just been a disaster for the lad. I feel for him, but I just can't see him.
Yeah, I agree. Duncan D says, why can't we raid the youth team at Man United? After all, Gorey is flourishing, and that is a massive positive for the recruitment, surely. This is something I think, Danny, on the recruitment side of things, that Paul Wong started to develop. Started to develop with Arsenal. We saw Jordi as size 2-2, and then Brook Norton Cuffy, and then obviously Paul Wong left, and Matt Taylor kind of treated him a little bit differently. So maybe and hopefully this is something Matt Hampshire is going to build up again. Good relationships with the better youth academies of the country where they can trust us. If you're Man U or even Man City or Arsenal and you see what Dan Gore's doing, you're going, wow, I trust Rotherham United with my best young players again. So hopefully we can kind of move up that ladder again of those good young players on loan.
Yeah, and to be fair to Steve Evans, to give him the credit where it is due, he is the one who first of all signed Dan Gore for us. But I would argue Matt Hamshaw has developed him a lot better into the player that we see now. But now I agree. I think with Warney, it was more of a slow burner with Arsenal because we saw it after there were a couple seasons and he sort of found his feet and then started working on it. Whereas Matt Hamshaw's sort of found that there's that player available. A, convinced him to come back. B, convinced Man United to send him back to us, which you don't really see that often. When a player's not really played at a certain club, you don't see them go back for another crack at the whip. But Dango's just gone, yeah, I'll come back, I'll play. And, you know, there's been many, many articles about, we might be going back in January. But the positive noise is that it doesn't look like he will. It looks like he'll be with us for the full season and then go from there. But if we've built a relationship with Man United, which is one of the biggest academies in the country, if not Europe at the minute, with some of the players they've produced, it's great for the players that are like more on the fringe that might not get into the first team per se, but will certainly be very strong EFL players. It's great that we've got that string to our bow that we'll go, oh, we'll send them to Rotherham. They're looking for a midfielder. They're looking for a defender, goalkeeper, striker, whatever. And they've got Matt Hamshaw to work with. So yeah, I'm all for it. And you never know, Dango might give his mates one a ring and just go, "Hey, Rotherham's a good club. Come here." But again, it's one of those where we can talk as positively as we like about it because we are the Happy Clapper podcast. But the proof, apparently, but the proof's in the pudding. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, in a positive manner.
Yeah, I agree. And looking back now, it's absolutely wild that we didn't continue that potential relationship with the Arsenal or somebody else after Warney left. That was such a weird thing that we just seemed to end. But anyway, Tom Swift brings up another point. Makes us going nowhere under Hamshaw. We were 10th this time last year and more points and better goal difference. You lose Saturday and we are in trouble. Go is likely to Stockport as it's closer to his home. That's one for Mick to respond to. Disagree strongly.
I don't agree, Tom. In any way, shape or form, I don't agree with any of that at all. That you cannot compare what we are this year to what we were last year. I'm not buying that at all, because last year we were literally going nowhere. We might have been 10th. We might possibly have been. I don't even know where we were. We weren't even playing. Obviously, we were playing crap football. We weren't even playing football. We had no idea. We had no direction. We had no management. We had no structure. We had no future for the football club. None of those things were happening. We've had a slower start this year because we've got a lot of new players. A lot of them are younger players. It's taken some time, but for me, I'm not buying any of that at all. We're in a much, much better place, a much stronger place looking forward. Yeah, the league position at the moment is not great, not by any stretch of the imagination. And we are close to relegation zone, but we're also close to playoffs. So, you know, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. Dan Gorgon of Stockport, why? Because he's from Manchester. Well, there's been no suggestion that might be the case at all. And if he does, he does. You know, that's up to Manchester United. It's got nothing. It will have nothing to do with Rotherham United and Matt Hamshaw or anybody else at Rotherham United. I won't have any say in that. However, when you look at the way that this manager has brought on Dango, how he's developed throughout this season, I don't think you can argue with the fact that he's 10 times the player he was when the season kicked off.
Yeah,
and if he stays for the full season, that'll go up again. So
Can
now
I just,
we're in a much better place. No, I'm done.
Okay, I'll just chuck my 2p in for this one as well. I've done a quick Googleage on the internet, and I've done it based on the last game before Christmas that we played, which was the 21st of December. So I'm not that far away. Rotherham United had played 19 at this point, and we were 18th.
18th?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. 24-25 season, game before Christmas, we were 18th, and we lost 1-0 to Mansfield on that game.
Oh, that were a bad game. Do you remember that? Oh, what a bad game that were. It was similar to Crawley one, away, not the historically bad home one. I didn't realise it were that bad, to be honest with you. That's a bit of a surprise.
So technically, we're doing better.
We are doing better. That's weird. We saw that coming. Adam says we were 17th on this day last year, 23 points, -1 goal difference. So goal difference actually stayed pretty similar. But anyway, we'll do predictions in a minute. I've done the league table, so we'll find out how badly the reigning champion is doing this year. Although not as bad as Danny.
Yeah.
But Mick, we come into this game on back-to-back defeats. But if anybody's watched the scouting report with Cozzy, you will know that they, by the sounds of it, they've just come off what sounds like a Crawley-esque defeat last week, I think, against Wigan. You're not fit to wear the shirt. Lee Grant, your football is not very good. All this other stuff. This is an interesting time to play a team like that with a manager in that situation, Mick. Crawley found it last year with Steve Evans that they were able to be positive and exploit it. If we go early and get an early goal against them, those fans will turn in straight away. There'll be no delay. Those fans will turn. So this start on Saturday is probably what makes or breaks the game.
Yeah, it's key, isn't it? And then the issue from our point of view is we're not notoriously strong starters, are we? No. You know, or maybe we are for the first 3 or 4 minutes, and then it just peters out a bit. But yeah, we get an early goal against these on Saturday, and then the game should be just about won, you know, because they are going to be the fans are going to be on the back and everything else. But the argument could go the other way, you know, if they get an early goal, that might do us. Having said that, at the beginning of the season, it did. It's not done that so much recently. In fact, more recently, with the exception of Plymouth and these last two games. More recently, when we've gone behind, it spurred us on, and we've done a little bit better. So, yeah, let's see. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think we should be favourites for this. Quite frankly, given the situation that they find themselves in, you know, they're down on the look. The confidence is going to be low. I don't know how much our confidence has been shot in these last 2 games. Not as much, I would have thought, as it would have been earlier on in season. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Harry says, football is weird. I'd love 9th right now and saying it should be sacked. That's true. That is very, very true. Football's a weird place. You know, we could win on Saturday and everything looked very, very different. Yeah. Let's see. We are about to say, how do you think we're going to win? But we don't know who's fit, do we? Which kind of restricts our answer to that one. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Right, prediction table. Where are we? Mick is not doing very well. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
You got that wrong way around.
I'm not even on the board. I'm covered up by a thing.
You're not even on the board, Danny. I'm going to have to remove the banner to show where Danny is on the table.
Oh dear.
How bad it's got. Danny's bottom with 6 points. Mick with 8 points. I'm marginally better with 10. The top of the table, though, Sam was running away with it. Sam was miles ahead. But Kev has got, I think, 3 predictions out of 4 correct, or something like that.
Wow.
So Kev's on a roll. Tom's not far behind as well. And then there's a bit of a gap to the rest of us, ones that famously, well, we don't know anything about football. We know that.
Between you, me, and Ben for relegation zone here, Danny, we're going to be one of us 3 is going to be flipping predicting Sheffield Wednesday scores next year.
I was just about to say, where do we go if we get relegated? We go to Sheffield Wednesday podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We'll find somewhere for you to go. So we'll get into our predictions. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, please make sure you give the video a thumbs up. We'll count that as your entrance fee, giving the video a thumbs up. And even if you're watching on telly, use your remote and press that thumbs up as well. That's all we want. If you're watching on X, which I can see a couple of hundred people are, make sure you follow us, like, subscribe on YouTube, and give the video a thumbs up if you are enjoying it, I suppose. If you're not, don't. Right, Danny, rock bottom of the league. If you know whoever your manager is would be getting the dreaded vote of confidence, if that was a possibility.
Yeah.
You've got my confidence, Danny. I'm fully behind you, mate.
He's lying to you. He's lying to you, Danny. Don't believe him. He's going to start. No, I'm not going to go there. Go on, Danny. What do you think?
Well, I kind of feel like Celtics manager at the minute. I'm just having an absolute mare.
Before you do it, Danny, that's one of my favourite things I've ever heard today. Have you seen what he said earlier about knowing Scottish football?
Oh, and he nearly signed for Carlisle or something.
I know all about Scottish football. I nearly signed for Carlisle United. Really,
I mean, he's
That's
got the
not
wrong
Scotland.
country, but it's. They're not, I mean, they're close to the Scottish borders, aren't they? They're closer to Scotland than they are London, I suppose.
That's like saying I know about Chesterfield because I'm from Rotherham. It's just nonsense. It's just crap. It's just anyway. Modern day manager. I don't like him, and that's anyway.
Yeah, I know a lot about Welsh football. I nearly signed for Hereford.
Yeah.
But no, based on that league table, it looks like I'm where some fans think Rotherham are in the league. You're exactly where Rotherham are in the league, and Tom is where some fans think we should be at the top of the league. So it's a very weird league table. But I mean, we're only 4 points behind Huddersfield.
1-1. Boring, like it. That's where the points are in the boring category, to be fair. Mick, last year looking like it was a bit of a flash in the pan. You saw us being rubbish every week and just pounced upon that as an opportunity to predict us to lose. Take yourself off mute and tell us what you think the score is going to be.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was coughing. So, last year we were a piece of cake, really, weren't it? Because we were just garbage every week. So it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to go 2-0 Rotherham.
Okay.
There's no point, is there? Because I'm down bottom of the league. I'm just scrambling away from relegation zone is all I'm going to do. Bit like us, bit like Rotherham.
What do you mean? We're
Bit
not
like everyone up to 12, like I just said.
We're nailed on for relegation. I don't know what you're on about.
I know.
Nailed on for relegation. Stop giving us false hope. I'm going to go. Well, I've written down 3-1 for Rotherham United. I see a bit of a Lincoln one. If we get the early goal, I think we'll do them quite comfortably. But that's a big if. That's what predictions are here for. YouTuber says 3-1 to us. Gailey says 2-1 Nombe and Powell. Donkey says this is going to be a big score for us, he thinks. Rob Dixon scores the opposite. Hard to see us scoring at the minute. 0-0 to at least break the losing run. Harry says 1-1. Phil says 0-1. Ian Roberts says 2-0. Tom Swift says 3-0 to Huddersfield. Chris Ted that early goal 3-1. Yeah. It's football, isn't it? Could be anything. Could be literally anything. We'll update the score league table after the Christmas period because there's not enough days in the week to get that sorted. Paul says it's Christmas. Let's win and get a bit of a pantomime atmosphere from Huddersfield fans. A bit of booing.
Yes.
Yeah, if a goal gets ruled out for offside, we just scored a goal. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, yes, we did.
Also, Huddersfield haven't installed that either, which again for Huddersfield Town coming to New York Stadium is weird. They're one of the better followed teams at New York Stadium. That'll give you an example of where their fans are at the minute and where I suppose we are as well.
Not great, is it? It's not great.
Nope. But if you want more of that, as I mentioned, go check out the Scout Report. One of my favourites we've done in a little while with Cozzy. It's 20 minutes. It's longer than normal, but I think it's worth your time. In the lead up to Saturday, give that a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Fellows, anything else you want to mention? Anything Christmas related you want to mention? Oh, Danny's got his hand up. Very informal.
Yes, I know. We don't shout it out here. Well, unless the Wi-Fi's playing up. So I've had a message today.
Do you want to get into a shouting match, Danny? Should we get into a shouting match? Do you want to do it?
No.
Fair enough.
No, because I'd lose. I've had a message today from the area manager for Green King Pubs out Bolton Way. So this is for Boxing Day. And there's a pub called the Beehive, which isn't that far from Bolton Stadium, I think it's called Tough Sheet Stadium these days. No, I'm not even kidding. I think it is.
No, it's just the best. Anyway,
So it's not that far from there. And he's passed the message across to me via my manager saying Rotherham fans are welcome in the Beehive on Boxing Day for a drink, food, whatever. So if you're heading out Bolton Way, whether it's on a coach or driving or train or whatever, head into the Beehive and tell them Danny and the lads from the New York Talk podcast sent you there because there might be an incentive coming our way for it. Nudge, nudge.
They won't care.
No, they won't care. But
You're
no,
trying to speak as a free beer, Danny. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah. Even though I'm working Boxing Day, so it's not for me. But yeah. But no, head into Beehive, have a drink, enjoy yourselves around Christmas because they are letting away fans in because they are one of the nice pubs that actually do that.
Very, very good. Very, very good. The Green King near New York as well, isn't there? You know that one right corner? Riverside, like
yes, the Riverside, and that's technically 100 horse. It is, but it isn't, if that makes sense.
We'll not get into politics.
No Green King politics here.
List done. Anything else we want to mention?
No, but thanks for asking.
No. Sound. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We very much appreciate your time and the build up to Christmas. One more game before Christmas, and then we can get into the. Well, I'm already in the festive spirit. I've got Christmas hats on. I expect to see hundreds and hundreds of Christmas hats on Saturday. The game before Christmas is the day where I expect them to happen. Me, Mick, Ben will probably be wearing it, although Mick might need a new one based on the fact that it's ripped to shreds. Podcast budget cannot buy make a hat big enough for Father Christmas. So we'll see what we can do on that one. We will be back on.
You never told me we do a budget.
Well, budget for stuff. Not really. We will back on Saturday. That'll be the instant reaction live. Well, not live, but from the stadium, as it always is, as it always has been. The instant reaction will be there for you. Then we'll be back Sunday, which will be the full review of the game, and then we'll be back Tuesday for the preview of the Bolton game, as well as our festive quiz, which I'm taking part in this year, which I can actually answer questions for, which I'm looking forward to. I've already enrolled my wife and kids to be on my team, so I expect a big score coming in on that one. So not getting competitive or anything. Duncan says, thank you all. Happy Christmas, everyone. Peace and love. What a lovely way to end. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time. Make sure you've liked, subscribed, followed. I said I was going to finish on that. I'm not. I'm going to finish by saying a thank you to everybody on Spotify. Our Spotify Wrap numbers came through, and there was nearly 100 people where our podcast was their most listened to podcast throughout this entire year. Wow. I know a lot of the podcast listeners, I think maybe we take them for granted a little bit. Thank you, everybody who has continued to watch this show grow over the past 12 months. We'll do a highlights package towards the end of the year, but we forget those podcast listeners, the audio listeners, I think, sometimes. So thank you, everybody, for those 100, and those obviously more than 100 who listen, but those nearly 100 we are your favourite podcast around. That was quite a cool stat to look. So thank you very, very much. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everybody. We will see everybody next time. Thank you for watching. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Here comes for more.
2 for Jensen, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots!
Ravel. Vicious. But brilliant. The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United.
What's got round the back? And Richie Wood has done